tomorrow. Since their inception in 2013, they have been striving relentlessly for more than 10 years, working with schools, educators, academicians, and childhood advocacy research organizations to develop and promote the healthy habit of reading and contribute towards childhood and intellectual development.
Brainfeed's educational conferences, expos, and awards cumulatively registered active participation from 8,000 education leaders and 250 leading brands in the educational services and product segment. Brainfeed recognized the contribution of over 12,000 leaders, educators, products, and service companies and conferred them with respective awards. Since 2013, Brainfeed has organized more than 45 educational conferences, providing an opportunity to share ideas, identify trends, and network with peers for over 15,000 leaders and educators.
I'm very pleased to have esteemed educators from India with us here today. I should take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Brahmam K.V, the team of Brainfeed, and people who are here. I don't remember everybody's name. But yes, all of you who've made it possible to have esteemed educators from Telangana and Andhra Pradesh to come all the way from India to Tokyo as a part of Education Summit. A very warm welcome from the students, management, teachers and staff of Global Indian International School, Tokyo. I also take this opportunity to introduce to you some of my team members and our management who are here to welcome you along with me. I have with me Mr. Sumit Mishra. He's the country director, country head for Japan campuses of GIIS and OVIS in Japan and South Korea. So he joins me in welcoming you. I have team of teachers and staff and senior members of admission team, marketing team, my vice principal, academic supervisor and teacher coordinators with whom you will be interacting in a short while from now, and the lovely students who welcomed you. GIIS Tokyo is very unique in itself, as you must have noticed in the few minutes you've been here that this campus, although it is Global Indian International School, but you can see that there is a diversity of students and teachers on the campus. So it makes us very unique in Tokyo. Your visit today actually is very important to us because it signifies the need and desire of exchange of ideas, of collaboration, and desire to learn from each other. And this desire brings you to Japan and Tokyo, and this desire also exemplifies our desire to collaborate with the esteemed educators who have come here today all the way from India to visit us. During this visit of yours, which is a very short visit, I'm sure you will get chance to learn some of the good practices, or we call them best practices, which are in GIIS Tokyo. You will get to learn that how we are a part of a large group called Global Schools Group, and how as a Global Schools Group we are imparting education to the future of the future citizens of the world. The vision of GIIS talks about being a role model for teaching and learning, and our students and staff exemplifies that as a part of their vision and mission. Throughout our program offerings, which are based on the holistic 9 gems framework, you would see examples and instances where you will be able to connect the skills of the students with 21st century skills. We feel very proud to be a part of this whole Tokyo campuses, as This campus, GIS Nishikasai, stands as the topmost ranking campus in CBSE schools outside India. In 2021, our students' CBSE 10 average was more than 96, school average, and that made us the topmost CBSE performing school in CBSE 10. We also offer many other curricula, and you will learn more about it in the presentations which will follow, which include the Cambridge curriculum, which include the IB program for primary years as well as for diploma, and our in-house developed Global Montessori Plus curriculum. So with multi-curricula offering, with multi-diversity in our student and staff body, GIIS Tokyo stands a unique campus in Tokyo, and this campus is the head office of all campuses across Japan. With this, I would not want to extend my talk at my end, but I would like to invite our country director to share with you a little bit more about what Global Schools Group stands for and how GIS is doing as a part of its journey in the educational setup. He will be joined by the Senior Admission Manager, Ms. Suparna, and the Marketing Head, Ms. Prajakta. So once again, I welcome all of you to be here. I would love to know more about you, love to know more about your name and what you've been doing in our country, back in India. And at the same time, I would love to take this opportunity to share with you whatever little bit we are doing as a part of our educational learnings. Thank you so much, and I invite Mr. Sumit Mishra to address all of you.
It's my honor to address perhaps the largest delegation from India yet in this auditorium. Okay. We do have visitors from India and other countries regularly, but I'm sure this is the largest single delegation from India which were in India. So thank you so much for coming here, and thanks to Mr. Brahmam Kumar and everybody else for taking out time for coming here. I'm given to understand that you are educators and school promoters, and so it will be very interesting for you to see an Indian school in Japan and its evolution. I don't know whether it was a bit surprising or you expected so many Japanese children in the small dance which we had. Did most of you expect so many Japanese children? Okay. Okay. So that is one small thing in terms of the multicultural environment which we are creating here, both among the students, the staff, and also in the curriculum and other areas. My colleagues Suparna and Prajakta, they will be taking you through a detailed presentation. We'll talk about our school because it's been here for quite a long time. This particular school started in 2006, so it's been there for almost 17 years. Okay. I'll just speak briefly about the Global Schools Group, GSG. The Global Schools Group till a year back was called the Global Schools Foundation, and this is headquartered in Singapore. It started in Singapore in 2002. About 20 years back, with one small school catering primarily to children of Indian immigrants. This campus, not this campus, the original campus was in Mizue, a bit far from here, but the campus in Japan also started way back in 2006. But for the first 10 years of its existence, the school remained pretty small. It was limited to educating children of Indian immigrants, and because the Indian diaspora in Japan is also very limited when you compare it to countries like America or UK or Canada and other places, it's pretty small. So obviously the growth of the school was limited. And so this was the first 10 years of the existence of the school. Then a lot of Japanese parents started taking an interest in Indian education, and this school in particular. And that growth started. Then in 2020, we had the unfortunate COVID scenario, and Japan, being a very conservative country, had closed its borders for at least a year and a half. Obviously, there were no immigrants coming in from India or any other country to Japan. What we did, that was the time when Madhu ma'am and I had also joined here. We both joined here in 2020. And we worked on the existing Japanese population which was already with us and expanded that. And in 2021, for the first time, the student body became a Japanese majority one. And which today is around, I think, 55-56% of the children are Japanese. About a third, 33-35% are Indian, and the balance comprises of many other nationalities, primarily from Asia. So this journey goes forward as we see that as a school and as educators, which is relevant to all of you, we can never be limited to one particular country, religion, caste, or anything else. The school as an educational institution has to be open to everybody. And the more relevant it is to different people from different economic levels, from different communities, ethnic groups, the greater will be the learning. And that is what, especially in GIS Tokyo, that we're striving for. This slide, the one which you can see, shows GSG's, the Global School Group's current global presence, and it's been growing very rapidly. Today we are present in 11 countries and there are 64 campuses. In Asia, pretty much, I think with the exception of mainland China, where pretty much in most of the countries in Asia, there's been a small start in London as well, and we hope to grow in Europe and other parts of the world as well. Okay. Japan itself, for us, is a growth market. It's also a very unique market, because I'm sure since you are from South India, many of you would be connected to Singapore in one way or the other, and some of you may even have had the opportunity to see GIS in Singapore. One thing which you would have observed is that if you walk into any GIS campus in Singapore, in India, in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, essentially the student body is Indian. And there's nothing wrong with that, because the schools always were set up to cater to the Indian diaspora. The GIS campus in Japan is unique in that the Indian student body is in a minority. It's the Japanese who are in a majority. So that actually works well with both student groups. The Japanese parents want that children should sit alongside Indian children so that they learn English. And of course, the Indian parents, they want that the child, if he's coming from India, should get a world view. Because if you're in India, in any school, pretty much all the children are Indian. So you do not get that kind of an international mindedness, which is also very important in today's world. So this school has now more than 1,300 children spread over 4 small campuses. I think you will be seeing this campus today and the Seishinsho campus, because in this, the time which you have, we can show you 2 campuses. We also started a school in Osaka last year, that is the One World International School, which is a full-fledged school. And there the student body is even more diverse, that the Japanese population is as big as 70%. Okay. And by end of this year, we are launching another school in Tsukuba. So currently in Japan, our presence is in 3 cities, Osaka, Tokyo, and Tsukuba. And we have set the pace to grow by around 1 campus every year. Yeah. So that is a bit about GSG and its growth. Suparna and Prajakta will take you through the detailed presentation of GIS Tokyo. Once again, I welcome all of you and thank you for taking your time to come here. It's actually a great honor for us that you have chosen this school to visit. Okay.
Ready to face this world outside the school, GIS Tokyo will continue to encourage more such events and strive towards excellence.
Now, I'd like to invite a few students from grade 12 to present some of GIIS Tokyo's best practices. Let's welcome Savya, Jigisha, Tanish and Sakura here.
Good morning everyone. I'm Sakura Shah and these are my friends. I, on behalf of my friend, would like to express our sincere gratitude to the school and our principal ma'am for providing us this opportunity. Today we will be presenting our best practices.
Good morning to one and all present here. My name is Sumit Mishra and I'll be starting off with Leadership Lecture Series. Leadership Lecture Series is a great way to inspire creativity, passion and action within students. Under the Leadership Lecture Series, students get a chance to interact with skilled and experienced leaders and learn from their expertise. In the previous LLS, which was conducted last month, we hosted Dr. Khoni, an award-winning Manipuri dancer, and Mr. Munish Singh, Director of ICCR, Northeast India.
Good morning everyone, I am Tanish and I'd like to discuss the student exchange programs that a school has to offer. Student exchange programs are events organized by the students of our school where we get to exchange information regarding the Japanese culture, Indian culture, the skills and the talents that student has with students from universities such as Seisin University, Nanzan University and Sofia University. The students from the universities talk about their experiences regarding Indian culture and how they believe it is related to the Japanese culture. Similarly, the students from our school also get to discuss about their experiences with the Japanese culture and how they believe it is similar to the Indian culture.
Next is University Fair. University Fair provides a great opportunity for all students to discover various university options and the programs they offer. It is open to all high school students. Some universities that had visited our school include Nagoya University, Temple University, Waseda University, Tokyo University, and many more. The representatives of such universities, they gather up and they interact with the students. They introduce them to the courses that they offer and they provide them the details.
Good morning everyone, I am Jigisha and today I'll be talking about activities conducted in our school. GIIS MUN, also known as Global Indian International Schools Model United Nations, is a public speaking activity where students learn how debates work, diplomacy, and also international affairs. It develops skills such as negotiation and problem solving. GIIS MUN started in 2021 and evolved with the number of delegates and committees available. In GIIS MUN Chapter 3, which was conducted last year, students throughout Japan and from other countries such as Georgia, India, Pakistan and Singapore came to participate as delegates, vice chairs and chairs. This year, we have GIIS MUN Chapter 4 in the month of June, where we are going bigger compared to the previous 3 chapters. In this year's MUN, we have a Japanese committee in order for students to communicate in Japanese and be aware of the culture and ethnicity of Japan, along with the current affairs. GIIS MUN follows the structure of a real United Nations conference. Participants represent various countries and talk about the current global issues according to the UN protocols and structure.
The Japanese people deeply value community service. Japanese culture also emphasizes that the community service is a fundamental part of life. Following this, at GIIS, we encourage the students to participate in various activities as participants or as volunteers. We have many events where students can volunteer. Some of them being Drive the Pantry, which is a food donation drive, and various cleanups organized in our surroundings, where we get to clean rivers or parks near us.
The community services in our school align with the SDGs. It all started with a simple step of minimizing the use of paper cups and PET bottles in our school. Teachers were encouraged to use reusable cups and students were encouraged to bring reusable bottles from their homes. This aligns with the SDG responsible consumption and production, and it is a step towards climate action. As Tanish mentioned, Drive the Pantry and various cleanups that are organized in our school also align with various SDGs such as zero hunger and climate action. Even in our student council, we have SDG ambassadors who advocates for SDGs and mobilize action. In our school, Jigisha is the SDG president and Salvia is SDG vice president.
In addition to all the activities mentioned, our school organizes sports tournaments such as badminton tournaments, cricket tournaments, chess tournaments, and football tournaments. These tournaments provide students opportunities to showcase their talent and develop sportsmanship. Students who do not participate in these tournaments are given opportunities in order to participate as volunteers and improve their management and organization skills. School tournaments promote teamwork, discipline, and healthy competition among students. They develop a sense of school spirit, contributing to the overall development and well-being of students.
Lastly, we have Virtual Author Visit. Started 3 years ago, Virtual Author Visit is conducted in the month of December every year, where students get a chance to meet authors and to get a new perspective on the world of book writing. Virtual Author Visit not only helps students understand the book even better, but also ignites the passion of reading and writing books within them. Suri Murthy was the first author invited to the Virtual Author Visit. Then the year after, it was Miss Rupa, and last year it was Michelle Harrison. Along with Virtual Author Visit, the school encourages students to participate in many activities during the book week. One of them being the CBSE Budding Authors Program. Last year, we had 2 students from our school, Aki and Sakura, whose book stories were selected and published in the CBSE Story Weaver website. That is all for our best practices in GIIS. Now, there are a lot of activities and programs the school conducts to help students excel in all areas like academics and extracurriculars, but these are the few that we handpicked. The school also believes in active participation of students in all these programs, as they believe it would help them in the real world. And so many students, including us 4, have been actively participating in all events and programs conducted by the school.
You have got comprehensively covered all the activities, and being Japanese, most of the students, majority Japanese in your school, and you have to teach English to them. So what challenges will you face, and how do you address them to teach English, because they are more used to speaking Japanese language? That's one question. And secondly, Japan is known for perfection, discipline, and also their culture is very rich. So how do you blend it with our Indian students with them?
Thank you. It's a very valid question, and you very rightly pointed out that this could be an area where we need to work on. As Mr. Sumit mentioned, that over the past 3 to 4 years, we have a rapidly growing Japanese student population in the school, and therefore internally we use a technique called Kaizen and Quality Circle in our school often. I think did not get mentioned in the best practice, but let me share with you. So Kaizen is a very Japanese term which we talk about small improvements, and Quality Circle, through Quality Circle we try to solve a problem in a methodical manner. So we took up English language proficiency program as one of our Quality Circle. We did a brainstorming with the help of the team of English department and other cross-functional team, and we came out with a framework which helps us to support the language acquisition amongst the Japanese students, or let's say we call them non-native English speakers. And through this language program, we now have a very comprehensive English language support program wherein we provide within the school language acquisition for the beginners, for the intermediate and for the advanced students. We offer English as a second language in our senior classes, and we also have value add program after school where which is also after the children reach home, right from kindergarten to grade 5, the teachers offer online support program to learn the language, which is at no cost, at no additional cost, and they are training them in the language skills, listening, speaking, reading, writing, and presenting. So all these skills are being developed in the students, and our students have benefited from it. Our parents are very happy about it because online program, parents also join. So they can also benefit from it. So that answers your question one. Question two was on yes.
ఇంకో క్వశ్చన్ ఉందమ్మా ఆంట్కు ఇంకో క్వశ్చన్ ఉంది.
Second question was on how are we integrating the Indian students with the Japanese students, how we integrate the culture. So we, we come from India. India is a very diverse land. Every street has diversity. So it becomes very naturally to us to blend diversity into unity. So as an Indian school, we have a program where we blend the Japanese students with the Indian program. They celebrate Diwali with us. They celebrate various festivals with us. They wear Indian clothes and come when it is our event. Likewise, our students celebrate the local Japanese festivals. They learn tea ceremony. Today, we have put in a program for you to experience some of the Japanese offerings as a part of co-curricular activities which we offer to all our students. So they learn shodo, they will learn calligraphy, they will learn tea ceremony, they will celebrate local festivals, and most importantly, we collaborate with local community and local schools. Like you will be visiting some local schools. So we have our collaboration with local schools where our children go and learn taiko drums from them. If you've heard of taiko drums, which are very typical Japanese drums, and they also, their children come and learn the Indian culture with them, which our students share that how Indian food is there, what Indian clothes are there, and what, how we do math and English better than them. Something like that. Thank you. I hope that answers your question.
Green morning, every leader here. Really, I want to know that how you are inculcating the children to take the feeling responsibility. They are taking care of the environment protection, all the areas, and take care of them, and how you inculcate the children in this organization. And Japan and other country people also here, no? That's why question.
See, since most of us are Indians, we understand well the culture in India and in Japan. Regarding your question, how we inculcate in children the environmental protection for the environment and other things. So it's also a function of the place where the children are brought up in. That's very important. So in India, a child typically learns from his surroundings. That's a reality, irrespective of whatever a school teaches. But the child is in school maybe for 6 hours or so, but balance of the time he is part of the ecosystem of that entire society. So here the good thing here is, and I'm sure since you're in Japan for a few days, you will understand how the sense of civic sense is very high here. The entire country is treated like a joint property. That's how people look at it. So Indian children, especially in children, there's less of a problem. The problem may be more with adults. People like you and me who suddenly come here because we've spent bulk of our life out of Japan. But for children, whether Indian or Japanese, they're brought up here, so they learn very fast. They see what the other children, what's happening in society, and I think those are some of the best practices which are relevant not only in India but across the world. The way Japanese children, they take care of their school properties, public properties, and that's so we just take it a step ahead, and that maybe Madhu ma'am can elaborate on that, how we institutionalize that within the school. We already have that framework, that what's happening in society, and how that's we institutionalize that. You'd like to add something?
I think Sumit-san has very rightly pointed out. So when I use the term san, itself, those who are not familiar with this term, it is out of respect for any elder. Like in India, we respect elders by adding some, in Hindi we call G or
G.
Yeah, in Hindi it's called G, in Andhra it's called Garu. Yeah, so something like that. So we begin with this respect for each other. Education itself, the teachers and farmers are the most respected people in the country. In our students, we bring in a very proper, a very institutionalized framework for based on the SDG goals, and right from the very classroom root level, there are classroom ambassadors for environment, and these ambassadors ensure that they are taking care of the environment and inculcating those habits in them. At the school level, we are associated with some organizations. For example, in Okinawa, which is a small island in Japan, a very sought after island, our students are doing the turtle saving project with the localites there, and within Tokyo, the students do beach cleaning, they go river cleaning, and they do projects on food donation drive. In fact, some of the students come up with proposals on their own, and they support various organizations. One example I can recall is during the COVID time, when most of the schools were off, our children were working virtually. They made those masks and went to the hospitals to, give those masks. So these are small initiatives which the children do it and make it as a part of their regular culture, so that it becomes ingrained in them as a character. Thank you.
Good morning. This is Murthy, B.S. Murthy. It was a universal phenomenon across the world during the COVID. After the COVID, we had behavioral issues in students, in learners. So, how did Japan handle this behavioral issues? Did that behavioral issues exist in Japan or not? Well, last year we were in South Africa. They had similar problems what we had in India also. What about Japan?
Good that you brought in this point regarding good that you brought in this point regarding the COVID situation, because that was unique to every country. Now again here I think Japan was very different from any other country. You spoke about South Africa, which I think would be similar to India. In Japan, there was no coercion from the government. See, even when I came here during the COVID time, so there was a 14-day quarantine, these things are not enforced by any coercive measure. The whole system is that if an instruction is given, people will follow that instruction because it is for public good. And that sense of respect towards the government, towards elders is so deep in Japanese society that the government does not require any police support or something like that. And this is like very unique. I don't think there would be maybe, just one or two more countries like this, where if somebody violates the quarantine, it's not that, there will be some penalty or something like that. He will get a kind of a simple warning letter that, this is not good, it's not good for your health and you're endangering health of other people as well. Just that. And that is more than enough to Japanese people. Because they want to have an impeccable record. But I think this is something which Japan has been able to achieve over many generations, and how people have been trained, how easily or quickly it can be, brought into other societies. I think that will take some time. Does that answer your question?
Yes. I have to learn lots from Japan.
This is Mallikarjun. I'm into handwriting training. Tokyo is a land of writing instrument manufacturers, which provides to the whole world. I think the whole world prefers to write with the instruments like pilot and all. What kind of handwriting practices do you have in the digital era? Do you insist on handwriting? Do they love? Children love? Parents encourage? Please.
So I think this question on handwriting will continue to emerge till we become paperless. So with the new generation, which is like Alpha, Beta, I think, coming up. So handwriting is definitely a question, question to be always raised by the children because they come with tablets to school. But as a school, we encourage calligraphy. There is a co-curricular activity under which calligraphy is done, and children learn calligraphy. Those who write, the teachers insist on handwriting neatly so that they can, it's legible and the teacher can correct the paper and give them marks. But other than that, I think handwriting will continue to become a challenge. But in kindergarten, through our Global Montessori Plus program, because that's the age when the child learns how to hold a pencil and all of that, through the Global Montessori Plus program, we ensure that the children learn to write the alphabets correctly, the holding of the pen or pencil, not the pen but the pencil, and that grip all is taught very, very properly to them. And I think that's the age when you set up the basic skills of handwriting. Thank you.
Your school is whole world, right? What is the difference between the Japan country education system and Indian education system? How do you find out any differences? Just that's very small line.
Okay. You will be visiting, it's a very good question. How is our international school, which is worldwide present, and how the local Japanese schools are different? You know, I'm an admirer of the Japanese school system. I admire the sense of discipline. I admire the way they do things. If you go to a Japanese school, maybe you will be visiting soon, you will not find a speck of dirt in the whole school. It will be so neat, so organized, and so well kept. So that's something which has become a habit with them. It's become a second nature. In Japanese school, they take a lot of interest in promoting the students' well-being. In fact, for the first few years, early years formation, there is a lot of emphasis only on civic values, on value system, on about the country, about their own basic habits of the children, and not on the reading and writing. As an international school, we focus a blend of both. So we focus on the value system, but at the same time, we also focus on reading, writing, etc. So that's a stark difference you can find between our school and theirs. Another stark difference which you will notice is that there's an open-mindedness within our open-mindedness. That means our children, our teachers have agency to speak, to express their thoughts at any forum without fear. And that is very much encouraged, that the children can commit mistakes, they can do wrong, they can come up to the teacher, and teachers are also asked to be open-minded about their idea sharing. So it's like a flat organization. Anyone can speak anything and we benefit from that. In the local Japanese system, there's a lot of hierarchy which you will find, which is for good, to inculcate the values in the system. So I think that's a basic stark difference which I have observed in my visits to the local schools.
Hello sir, this is Sudhir Reddy. My first question for you sir, it's like you are setting up schools globally. What's the major difficulty you find setting up school globally? Major difficulty. And my second question is for you, ma'am. Well, the process you find a good teacher, or you train teachers, how it happens to training of your teacher? Can I know your process of training a teacher? Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Thanks. That's a very interesting question, and I've been involved in setting up schools in India and now in Japan as well. Okay. I would say some things are common and some things are different. One good thing about the Japanese government is that it is very hands-off with regards to international education. So even if you see this particular property, which is a fully affiliated school with the Ministry of Education, with CBSE and other things, it does not have its own playground. In India, unfortunately, the rules are very stringent. So each state government will have its own rules. CBSE has its rules that you have to have 2 acre minimum size plot. Then some state governments brought in rules which are even Haryana, for example, brought in a 5 acre kind of a rule, which I don't know later on whether it survived or did not. So, I think that it becomes a bit more complicated in India, and you would know that complications lead to corruption and other kind of things. Ultimately, you can get an approval, but it's a bit complicated. So, here the government has made it very simple. Also, there is no restriction on Japanese children studying in an international school or going to a local school. This again is a slightly different thing, because as I handle Korea as well, in Korea, the government is very strict. Korean children have to study in Korean schools. They can study in an international or a foreign school only if the child has lived outside of Korea for at least 3 years. But in Japan, there's no such restriction. And the government, in fact, even helps us in terms of giving us old school properties. So the school in Osaka, which we have set up, is in the center of the city, and it's a huge school. So it was an earlier Japanese school which closed down because of depopulation. We took over the school. Of course, we have renovated the entire building, and so that's another support which they provide us. Also, I see that the Japanese government has very limited commercial interest when it gives out school properties. In India, when the government properties are auctioned off, the commercial interest is high and they're given to the highest bidder. So that's also another very interesting distinction. In India, if there's a public bid, it is typically the person who bids the highest in terms of the valuation or the rental gets the bid. In Japan, it's not like that. In education, the rent is fixed. You have to bid in terms of what value you will add to the community. And based on that detailed, you have to make very detailed presentations and written submissions as to what value will add to the community, both short term and long term. And basis of that, the person who has the most value addition to Japanese society, that person is selected. Okay. So we have been lucky to get selected in 2 places, as I mentioned, in Osaka and Tsukuba. Okay. And again, then in India, there's a lot of private participation in education. So which is a positive thing, I think. In Japan, that is a bit limited. Okay. Mostly education is with the government. Most of the schools and universities, they are government owned. But in India, there's a lot of private participation. And since I've handled a large school chains in India, I've seen, and I'm sure we'll get to know that later on, as you're also school promoters. Okay. There are a lot of people with interest in education who want to set up good schools and provide good education in general. Okay. So that's it. If there's something else more specific you'd like to know, so I can answer that. Okay.
Is education for profit or not for profit here in Japan?
Yes. That's a very good question. In Japan, a private limited company can operate a school. So it's for profit. And why that is so, please understand, because the public education in Japan is very strong. And the government provides public education free of cost to everybody. So there is no reason for somebody to go an international school. If a parent chooses to go to an international school, that is completely on their own free will. And they should be ready to pay whatever the school charges. So that is another, I think, big distinction. And again, Japan would be an outlier, because in most countries, education is supposed to be non-profit, or there are certain restrictions that non-profit companies or charitable trusts and things like that can operate. Okay.
One more last. Are there any regulatory challenges in operating the school?
Yes, there are quite a few. So while I said that in terms of the property and land, the government is not very specific, but there are a lot of regulations regarding fire safety, child safety, things like that, and it's a continuous process. Japan is very high on child protection. So all those processes one has to adhere to in toto. Okay.
All the parents are able to do some work for the school children.
Do you mean like a parent volunteer group or things like that? That depends on school to school. Some parents are open, some are not. Generally, what we've seen in international schools, there is not that much of parent participation. It's limited, but it's growing. Okay. because parents come from different backgrounds. Many of them are Indian, many are from different South Asian countries, many are Japanese. So it depends. In some countries, the PTAs are very strong. Some countries they are weak. Okay, but we're trying to grow that.
I think Sir asked another question to Ma'am too. So.
Thank you. I think in interest of time, we'll take this. I'll answer this and one last question. This was regarding the teacher training. So this particular branch is CBSE. So all our teachers are CBSE trained. They are, as you are aware, if you are aware of CBSE portal. So there is an online portal from CBSE which gives training to teachers. We have an in-house very strong training structure, 50 hours of training per teacher per year, which we divide into various buckets: soft skills, subject specific, leadership skills, and other training areas which come up. So that's our training structure. All teachers are trained teachers, and they come from different backgrounds. And in Indian equivalent is B.Ed. So against B.Ed, if they've done a diploma or something else in training, also is accepted here.
Same rule India and here also is
Same. CBSE has no differentiation between India and foreign schools. Yeah. So we'll take one last question.
Yes, we can.
My interest in children, ma'am, that are like mainly on the slow learners and as well as no child is dull and duffer because nobody is born abnormal. The thing is, it's a lack of interest. So how do you create interest in the children to learn better? And any punishable acts undertaking?
So I think this is a very generic question, but good you have interest in slow learners. So we have a differentiated learning system within the school. So as somebody had pointed out in the first question, how language learning is promoted. So if the child is has just started school, has no language proficiency, so the child is given a separate training, has given separate differentiated worksheets, differentiated assessments. So that differentiation is brought on language profiling of the child. You will be surprised, we do language profiling of each and every child. So we have children who have a basic bare minimum 3 language and 2 children who know at least 7 to 8 languages. So we do language profiling. In addition to that, children who are on the borderline of certain learning disabilities, they are also provided support in the school system. The teachers are trained to bring in differentiation in learning. In extreme cases, we do have support from the parents and in terms of a shadow teacher, so who will assist the child at all times in the school. So that concept is available here, so that shadow teachers can support the children.
In Indian school, they are thinking first grade, the 6 years is compulsory.
Yes, same thing. We have revised our admission policy to accommodate this NEP, New Education Policy 2022, and now we are also taking CBSE 6 years compulsory. We have created a bridge program called for K3. That means 3 years of education, nursery, K1, K2. Then to accommodate these children who are less than 6, there is a bridge program which accommodates them till they become 6 years of old or till they have a proficiency in the language to be in CBSE. We will continue. We've been doing K3 for past 2 years. Yes. So we most likely it will go away in terms of age, but in terms of language proficiency, it will continue. Yeah. Yes, I understand that because I know that how different states are facing that challenges. So we have already addressed that challenge by creating a bridge program, K3.
Regarding the punishment aspect.
Okay, yes. So as a school, punishment term is not used. We don't use any negative term in any format, either verbal or in action. We always use the term consequences. So one good practice which I would like to share with you is the classes have agreements. So the class teacher and the students create class agreements, so that the teacher decides along with the children what is the agreement in the class. If you are going to shout, what will be the consequence? If you are going to misbehave, what will be the consequence? So once everybody agrees, it is put up in the class. And that is followed, so to bring in the discipline amongst the children. But you always, this is like fire on the go, right? You always have to address these issues, but with mutual discussion. So there is a discipline committee, there is a discipline policy in school, but punishment term is not used at all, either physical or mental or in verbal. Thank you. I think.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Sumit has a question for you all.
Let me also ask a question. Can any one of you speak a bit about your group as to what's the composition of the group and what brings you to Japan, how long you are in Japan, and what also? Any one of you, just to get to know you better.
This group is Brainfeed, which publishes education magazines. Okay, right from the pre-primary onwards till the high school. Okay, we have totally 4 publications in Brainfeed, and close to almost 4 lakhs is the circulation of it in all over India. Mainly, most of the Telangana and Andhra schools are involved in this subscriptions, and we have across the country. So this is the reason why you find more of the South Indian Telangana and Andhra state school heads participating in this. These are all correspondent school heads sitting here, not principals. They're all school owners here. And on an average, I can tell you 3,000 is the school strength of each school on an average. There are higher than that, little lesser than that, but 3,000 is the total strength. And this is the #1 education magazine in India. Quality-wise and the content-wise, we'll give you a copy of those magazines. And very well published with quality this thing. And we keep conducting several conferences which are related to our education system in India. And that's a regular thing. Yearly once we have on December 5th, 6th and 7th this year also we have it in Hyderabad. Right? We conduct in all east, west, south and north of India in different cities this regular. And on an average around 1,000 school heads participate in each of these conferences across India. And anything related to, we also have other channels also where we share with them. We have so many panel discussions, virtual and also physical things happen regularly to educate these educators all over the world. And international conferences we conduct once in a year. Right? We have already visited 9 other countries. This is the 10th country we are visiting now. So we keep on going in May. Generally in May we have vacation in India because of summer vacation. So elsewhere, May it's open. So we visit countries and then we go sit in the classrooms, try to understand, and then we carry the best practices there and then try to implement in our schools. This is in brief about the Brainfeed.